Okay, welcome. Good morning. Back to the videos, back to the G videos. So, game plan today is we're gonna make some paper plate model that will show the rotation of a Ferris wheel. So here, let's take a look at this student's work. In the last quiz, what we were able to find out was that, like, let's say if you're over here in this position, you're at zero height, right? You're at zero height. If you were at the tippy top, you were at 324, and if you were at the center, you were at like 162. But the question that we need to ask ourselves is, how do we know what this height will be? How do you know what this height will be? Like if I start here and I do 1/4 rotation, what's my height? My height is 162. But like, let's say if I do 1/8 rotation, what is my height? My 1/8 rotation is like between the 1/4 and the 0, so it's like somewhere over here. So what will that height be, and how do we calculate that? And this paper plate model will help us do that. Okay, so how do we actually do this? Let's begin. So paper plate model. Let me zoom out. Paper plate model. So let's see. What do we do first? Let's make sure we have all the supplies, right? So supplies. 1, we need a ruler. So here's a ruler. 2, we need a protractor. So you could use like one of these guys, or you can use one of the little guys over here. That's okay. We need a sheet of paper. So you pick your color. All right, I picked green. Here we need a fastener, and a fastener looks like one of these little guys. And we also need a sharpened pencil. Make sure your pencil's nice and sharp. We're gonna poke some holes. Okie dokie. So step 1, what do we do? It says find the center of the paper plate. So if I have my paper plate here and I wanted to find the center, what would I do? I would kind of look, you see here, this doesn't have to be too precise, but if I were to measure this thing, how long does it measure? It measures about, I would say it measures from 0, right? 0 to about 17. If you see the 17 on the bottom. So I know my center will be somewhere like 8.5. So I know it'll be somewhere here. And if I do it the other way, if I just turn it around, yeah, it should be like right here. It doesn't have to be too perfect. Whatever you think the center is, but just get a good feel for it. I think my center will be here. That'll be my center. It's not the end of the world if it's not too perfect. Here, it says find the center of the paper. And again, you don't need to be too perfect. You just kind of get a feel for it. Wherever you want the center to be, like let's say if I were to put my plate over here, then, have it like right here, anywhere. As long as the plate isn't like over here or over here or over here, that's okay. As long as it's just on the paper, that's okay. So we have our 2 points, right, for the paper and for the plate. Now it says poke a hole in each center gently with your sharpened pencil. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically take my paper and just, I'm not going to just like, just like kind of just stab the paper. I'm just going to, just little by little, just play around with it, and then until I could poke a hole. There we go. Okay, and notice I could kind of like wiggle my pencil around to deepen the hole. And now here we go. And now you're going to do the same thing with the paper plate. Take your time, just gently kind of like rotate your pencil around and then try and stick it in there, and then there you go, poked hole. So now you can see it's on the outside here, wiggle it around. Okay. Now what do we want to do? We want to, step 2 is use the fastener, right? So take this guy and connect the paper plate on top of the sheet of paper. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that this side is up, right? And we're going to take the fastener, put it in here, and depending on how big the hole is, you may need to wiggle this guy around, but try and, okay? And now you see how it's over it, right? And also you want to now take the paper and put it on top of this. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this and make sure that this goes through the paper as well. And now it comes on the, oh God, I am messing up over here. Okay. Well, as I struggle with it, you could struggle with it too. And notice that it's over here. And what you're gonna do is you're just kind of smooth out this, right? And notice that, oh God, I completely messed it up. It's not that smooth. This is too much. So, okay. Here, you're just gonna smooth it out gently, just like that. And if it looks like a little, you know, like a little popped up a little bit, what you have to do is just adjust this until it's not popped up too much. Or you need to play around with this until it smooths out. But take your time, pause the video, and just smooth it out. And there we go. Okay. So here, what do? We have this, right? We have this kind of circular Ferris wheel. The next thing we want to do is step 3, from the center of the fastener. So if we're at the center over here, right, and if we have our paper like this, or like this, it doesn't matter. If you have your paper like this, wait, let me fix this. Okay. If I have my center, it says use a ruler to draw a straight line from the center to the right side of the plate. So here, if this is the center, what I want to do is take a ruler and just draw a line from here to the outside of it right here. So I'm just going to take a ruler and just kind of have it over here. Okay? And notice this is just my line. And if you want, you could shade it in a little bit. All right, and take your time and make sure it's pencil, and this is it. Okay, so we did that. Now, what this will mean is, imagine you're joining the Ferris wheel at that 3 o'clock position. Our 3 o'clock position will be our starting point, okay? So now, let's see what happens next. It says here, mark a 0 degree on the right side of the plate. The 0 degree should be on the paper, not on the plate. So here, you just take this and on the piece of paper, we're gonna write 0 degrees, okay? So when this doesn't move at all, you're 0 degrees. You're not rotating any degrees. Next, what I'd like you to do is now mark a 90 degrees on the paper directly on the north. What this is saying is, from the center, if you just think about it, just take your hand gently, or with the ruler if you want, and just gently think about what this will be. It'll be like right here, and this will be 90 degrees. Okay? This will be 90 degrees. And then what do you think we're going to do on the left side? The left side, if this is 0, this is 90, this has to be 180, right? So this is going to be 180 is going to be over here. And you see, I'm not like too super perfect with it, but that's okay. So that's 180. And directly to the south, this should be 270 degrees. Okay? So these are our 4 major sides. The 0, the 90, the 180, and the 270. Okay? And notice that this represents, like, remember, this is 1/4 rotation, 1/2 rotation. This is 3/4 rotation, and then this is 1 full 360 degree rotation. Okay, so now here this was mark 180, mark 270, and now this part will take some work. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. It says take your protractor and put it on the center of the circle. So if I take the protractor, if I take this guy and I put it on the center, what we want to do is step 7, mark the 15-degree position, then the 30-degree position, etc., until you completely rotate around the circle. So what this is saying is that if I start at 0, the next one I want to go with, the next degree I want to show 15. Then I want to show 30. Then I want to show 45. Then I want to show 60. Then 75. And 90 we already have. We're going to go up by 15 all around the circle. Okay, so this will take some time. And the way you do this is you just kind of take this, and it's a little difficult because these plates, it's like it's very clunky. But think about it, that if this is the center, right? All right, let me zoom in a little bit. Okay. So if this is the center, and here, because these protractors are really cheap, if this is, how do I mark 15 degrees? Well, here it says, okay, let me flip it. Oh God, this thing is so cheap. What do we do here? I'm gonna pause the video real quick and think of a good way to teach you this. Hold on. The way that I realize that we should do it is, do you see how you have this part over here, right? This part over here gives us this line here, right? So and if we're at 0 here with this line, you just count 15 this way. So if this is 180, right? Because this is from 90 to 180. If this is 180, then 15 this way would be at 165. So I know this is an angle, and this will be 15 degrees. The next one would be 15 less from this point, so that's 5 and a 10. And then the next one will be 30 degrees. And the next one will be from 150, another 15 down this way will be 135. It'll be this one, it'll be 45 degrees. And then after this 135 over here, the next one is 120. So that's 60 degrees. And here, after the 120, 15 more would be here approximately, and that would be 75 degrees. And then boom, we have all of them. Now, if you're thinking, okay, Mr. G, I don't have this fancy protractor, I have this really crappy, like, small one, you could do the same thing here. Just imagine you do the same thing. And now here, your starting point is this 180, okay? So here, if your starting point is 180, this 180 represents the 0. So now you just keep going 15 down. So after 180, the next one is 165, so it's like right here, and then boom, it's 15. Don't worry about being too precise, okay? So this is 15 this way, and then 15 this way, 15, oh God, this is not even, we can't even use these crappy things. All right, what I'll try and do is grab a friend and try and use the bigger one, and I'll give one to each table, okay? But what I want you to do is just mark it all around, okay? And then once you do that, I'll come back to the next part of the video. This is what I got right here, and it's not perfect. At one point, the protractor was so bad, I just kind of like guessed my lines. I literally guessed my lines because, I'm sorry, I just don't have the supplies. Okay, so here, the game plan is, okay, so what on earth, why are we doing this? If you go to this page here in your packet for the Ferris wheel project, right? Here, what we want to do is, it says B, let's read B. It says, using the physical model you created with your group or by yourself, record your measurements in the table and then graph the ordered pairs. So what we're going to do is, here, at 0 degrees rotation, what is the height in centimeters? So what I'd like you to do is, let's take a look. If I go with my rulers, I'm going to check out the centimeter side, right? It says here the centimeter side. I'm going to see how high it should be. And now remember that if the whole thing was 17.5, right? This diameter of this is 17.5. Half the 17.5 should be 8.5. So let's take a look. Will it be 8.5 at 0 degrees? And if this is this bottom over here, right? What we could do is we could kind of just like draw this line over here, right? To connect this. From this line to here, it should be about 8.5, right? And now what I want you to do is, so this one is 8.5. The next one, what will it be when it's a 15-degree rotation? Well, let's see. If we rotate it up to 15 degrees, what is a centimeter? Oh, there's a glare here, I'm sorry. Let me try and fix that. Okay. Here, at 15 degrees, right, what's the length? The length should be about 11 centimeters. You see how it's 11 centimeters over here? Okay, this should be 11 centimeters, all right? At 30 degrees, the next one, let's rotate it up 30 degrees. What's our measurement? It should be about 13, I would say maybe like 13, oh no. We're gonna connect the line from here to here. So it's about 12.5. It should be about 12.5, okay? And what I want you to do is keep going up on this, keep going around. For each one, calculate the height and just go all the way around the circle. And then what you're gonna do is, I want you to, whatever information you have, I want you to graph it. So you see here, if this is degrees, and this is height in centimeters, what I want you to do is graph it. So what's our first point? Our first point is 0, 8.5. So it should be 0, 8.5. It should be right here. That's a point. Okay? And I want you to do it all the way. What will this graph look like when we graph it? What do you think the next number, do you think it's going to go up or down when it comes to the height? It should go up, right? And then here, this is your axis. So go for it. You can do it.